Hi and welcome to Healthy Life Hacks. I'm Jennifer Jefferies, the present day wise woman, a realistic naturopath coming to you from the surfing beaches of Australia. This podcast is for those of you who are wanting to really rock your life and health and live from a place of prevention. Let's get into today's episode. Eating crap food is not always a problem when it comes to insulin resistance. Now, insulin resistance is a bit of a buzzword at the moment, so I thought I'd talk into it because crap food absolutely is part of the story. So that's, definitely that has an influence on our insulin in our body, but it's not the whole story. And so just eating a clean diet isn't going to bring you back into balance. So we hear about insulin resistance, and the conversation definitely revolves around diet a lot and cutting out processed foods and sugary snacks and refined crappy carbs, white bread, rice, pasta, those kind of things. And they, like I say, they're important to address for happy insulin resistance. However, just doing that is not going to bring the result, because at its core, it's not just a metabolic issue. It's a stress-driven, cycling, fueled by cortisol issue. Cortisol is the body's primary stress hormone, and cortisol is released during stress as part of the body's fight or flight response. And so the role of it is to increase our glucose availability in the bloodstream, to give us that energy to stand and fight or to get the heck out of there. So if you're just eating clean and still being a stress head, you're still going to have an insulin resistance problem. And so let's talk about that. So we know that cortisol is needed. It is that hormone response to stress. It's important because it helps us in acute situations. So we're meant to be able to have a stress, have time to recover, have a stress, have time to recover, have stress, have time to recover. And that whole general adaptation syndrome is part of it. So we're meant to, stage 1, we have stress, we get recovered, all good. But stage 2 is the adapting stage. And this is the classic when you go on holidays and you catch a cold on the first day of holidays. That tells you your body is in stage 2. Stage 3 is eventually burnout. And so many people are sitting in that stage 1, 2, which is what my whole book, my new book, Fuck the Stress, is all about, because it's about how the last 4 years of stress with pandemic and COVID and all that kind of stuff has impacted our body, and people's bodies are still in alarm mode. They haven't been able to adapt properly in that stage 2. And so there's been the stress, but not enough recovery time to bring it back into balance. So when our stress keeps cortisol levels elevated for too long, we get persistently high blood sugar levels. This is part of the problem. It's not just eating crap food. And over time, it forces the pancreas to pump out more insulin to manage the glucose. And eventually, it desensitizes the cells to insulin's signals. And that's what insulin resistance is. And we're in this vicious loop. And I call it the perpetual stress loop. Again, I talk about it all in my book. The book is full of the bare ass minimum things to break that stress loop. Now, high levels of insulin can trigger more fat storage, particularly in the abdomen, which then produces inflammatory signals that worsens the stress. So this is the loop, okay? You get stressed, cortisol's high, insulin resistance come in, inflammation rises, and we stress out. And we're going around and around and around. So the inflammation is feeding the cortisol production, which is creating this relentless feedback loop. Like I said, I call it the perpetual stress loop, and everything in my book is about breaking that. We can break it just even in one place. We come back into balance. So check out my book, Fuck the Stress. As I record this, the audio book will be out in a couple of weeks' time. If you're an audio book kind of person, go and check it out. It will be up in a couple of weeks' time, or depending on when you're listening to this, it may already be out. So check it out. So if we really want to address insulin resistance, we have to look beyond diet. Yes, we need to eat close to nature the majority of the time, 80% of the time. Get rid of that man-made, processed, refined and processed foods. That's it. The crappy sugars. Good sugar is good for you. Everything close to nature is still okay. It's the crap that's not. So here are some other simple steps you can look at incorporating, and they're all in my book, but they're about incorporating into your day-to-day life to balance out that cortisol production. So the first one is we have to manage stress. Okay, so mindfulness, the whole art of mindfulness is big, and mindfulness it's just to be present. So even when we're eating a meal, to not inhale your food, but to sit and enjoy chewing like each mouthful. Just if we're out walking, look around. Don't be on your bloody device. Like it's the art of just being instead of doing. Meditation. Even 5 minutes a day has shown in research to be able to really support balancing out cortisol. Now, meditating doesn't mean that you have to sit on the top of a mountaintop chanting Om. It doesn't. Just, I'm big on chanting and doing walking meditations. That's what I've learned through the Buddhist system over decades, and works really well for me. And it's wonderful for just getting me out of my head and keeping me grounded. I love it. Yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, any of those they're really mindfulness body movement exercises. And mindful movement will be more beneficial than just flogging yourself in the gym or going for a great big run when your body's under stress. Adaptogen herbs are essential, and I've done many, many, many podcasts on adaptogen herbs. Adaptogens are a class of herbs that help our body to be able to adapt to the stress. And that's what our body needs to do. Stress is actually good for us. It helps keeps us alive. However, we have to be able to have that recovery time. And if we're in that alarm mode all the time, we can't adapt. That's where we progress through the general adaptation syndrome, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 of burnout. The big secret with adaptogens is that we never prescribe one adaptogen on its own. So I know that things like ashwagandha are doing a run of everything at the moment. It's a great herb. However, we don't use one herb on its own because we're not one body system. We've got to be able to look at all the body systems to bring it back into balance. And then regular physical activity, moving your body, and even walking. I surf, I walk, I do Pilates, I use weights at home, I move my body mindfully. I don't flog it at the gym because I know I am a person who goes really fast, and it's really important for me to make sure that I manage my cortisol levels too. So I promise everything that I say to do, I do it. And then breathing. If we are in a high stress state, I default to doing the vagus breathing. So vagus nerve is the longest nerve. Cranial nerve runs in our body all the way from our head all the way down through. Absolutely connects our gut. And so often we're not depressed. We're just not happy because our happy hormones aren't being fed because our vagus nerve is not working properly. And so if you are in a state of stress, doesn't matter what it is, and all stress is equal. All stress is equal because it plays with our cortisol levels. So it doesn't matter what it is, because what stresses me won't stress you and vice versa. So whatever it is to you, when you're in a moment like something like that, do the breath. This is the easiest thing. Do 2 of these and you just get the vagus nerve to start working properly. And all it is 2 quick sniffs in and a long sniff, breath out through your mouth. So it's like, even 2.
Have you ever wondered how your life could have been different if you'd had access to this type of content at a younger age? Look, this is why I need your help. I'm working to build the #1 platform that gives real and easy to integrate healthy life hacks and mindset to help you get well and stay well. This show only grows by word of mouth and new subscribers. It would mean the world to me if you could click the subscribe button right now, leave a 5-star written review, or drop a comment below. Share this episode with a friend and I would be forever grateful. Now, let's get back to this week's episode.
Helps to start breaking that perpetual stress loop. But deep breathing of a day, mindfully deep breathing, can really help make a difference. 5-10 minutes, just start. The next one, and there's a whole chapter on it in the book, which is about prioritizing sleep. So sleep deprivation elevates cortisol and reduces insulin sensitivity. So between 7 and 9 hours sleep is what you're aiming for. Our cortisol, or our adrenal glands, need between 7 and 9 hours sleep to balance out that cortisol during the night. And every minute you're in bed before 10 p.m. is like bonus points. So if you are a night owl, think about even 5 nights a week, bringing it back that you're in bed before 10. I promise that your body will feel the difference. The next one's mindful eating. So like I said, when we eat, don't just inhale. Actually take the time and savor the food. It's really important. The other thing is, never eat a meal while you're watching the news. That negative disaster, doom, that the news is so dangerous. There's been studies that have been done showing the difference between watching the news, eating a meal, and also watching a comedy. And the comedy just went all benefits to your blood sugar levels, and the negative doom and gloom and everything of the news just messed up everything. And I have for decades, if I sit and eat, when I sit and eat lunch, if I'm not sitting with someone and I'm by myself, or doesn't lunch, dinner, breakfast, doesn't matter. If I'm by myself, I watch comedies. I really do. I'll just get onto YouTube, watch some funnies. And even if it's cat and dog, videos doing fun things, I know it has an effect on my cortisol and my blood sugar levels. So yeah. So you want to avoid eating under stress, because the cortisol spikes can impair digestion. Literally, when we're stressed out, we pinch the vagus nerve, we shut down digestive system, and that absolutely exacerbates blood sugar swings. And so if you are stressed, just settle yourself down first before you inhale something on the run, because it won't help. And the last one is, we really want to make sure we're addressing underlying inflammation. So inflammation, we want to bring down. We bring it down with simple things like omega-3 essential fatty acids. So I talk all about good fats in the book, and I talk about how flaxseed oil is one of my favorites. And so bringing in omega-3s as a daily basis, I use a loose flaxseed oil, which I can add to my protein shakes, or I can put on a salad. I can even just have, a couple of teaspoons to take. It tastes good, and it totally helps to balance things out. It's also great. I use it a lot because I fly long haul working as a speaker. And so I want to prevent things like DVTs. I want to make sure that I'm really looking after my heart health. I want to prevent strokes, all those things. And omega-3s are the secret to that. Yes, they are. We want to make sure that we're staying hydrated. So we know we need between 33 ml per kilo per day of water. And water is water, or herb tea is water, or green tea or white tea brewed for less than 1 minute is water. Close to nature. It just makes sense. If your brain thinks all the time, I'm about to eat or drink this, is it close to nature, or is it a man-made nasty? If it's a man-made nasty, reduce or eliminate it. If it's close to nature, go for it. And we want to reduce alcohol. Again, you think short term, I need a drink at the end of the day just to relax. No, it does more damage. And I even talk about that in the book too. So if you really want to get insulin resistance under control and break that perpetual stress loop, looking at any one of those simple, that's like the BAM of the BAM. The book is full of more BAMs, but that's the BAM of the BAM. It's just know that it's not just bad food choices, okay? We are not one body system. We are this incredibly multifaceted, complex being that stress impacts. And so bring that under control, and things like insulin resistance and just wellness in general start to come back into balance. Just start. Stop waiting for the right time. Stop waiting for having every box ticked. Just do one thing today to help bring that stress into balance, the cortisol into balance. I promise your body you'll feel it. You'll totally feel. Give it a week, 2 weeks. A little consistent tweaks as you go along, you start to feel the difference really quite quick. So look after yourselves. I want to thank you for being here today. If you enjoyed my podcast, please let me know by leaving a review on Apple Podcast. Every month, I draw one lucky person who leaves a review, have a free 1-hour consultation with me. Be sure to subscribe to the show wherever you're tuning in from, so that you always catch the next episode. I welcome your emails, and you can write to me at podcast@healthylifehacks.com.au. Until next time, remember, when it comes to life, live it, love it, and get on with it.